This is the brand new Steam Deck OLED, and in today's video, we're gonna find out if this upgrade is worth the price. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and I've been a huge fan of the Steam Deck since it first launched, and now that we've got an upgraded version, is it worth the upgrade if you already have a Steam Deck? So really, we're answering two questions in today's video. Is this thing worth the price, and also, is it worth the price if you already have one? But before we do that, I wanna give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Clio. Clio is an AI-powered financial assistant that has your back and helps you make better money decisions. And after using Clio for a couple weeks, I've got to say that my favorite part of the Clio app is their AI-powered chat function. It's essentially a smart AI financial assistant. It's incredible. Clio makes personal finance fun and easy in a way that I've never experienced before. You can actually ask Clio, do I have enough money to spend on Starbucks this week? And she'll tell you. It's almost like you're talking to someone who knows your financial needs, knows your budgeting wants, and helps you make financial decisions that moves you towards your goal. But my personal favorite feature is the Roast Me feature, which is just as scary as it sounds. I don't know what's more shocking, the fact that Best Buy still exists or that you managed to spend a full $1,493 there last month. I was buying stuff for the tech channel. Hey, I get it. Hey, you know what? I spent a lot at Best Buy. Oh man. She says Jeff Bezos has enough money to end world hunger and has it. Be sure to keep giving him yours. And then she lists off all the times that I spent a lot of money on Amazon, which is a lot. Yes. Again, for the tech channel, well, I'll make excuses like that, but she's calling me out on them. I'm definitely gonna change the way that I'm spending now. Looking at it, seeing it all at once, yeah, that's insane. So as you can see, Clio is a great way to help you start out your financial journey. She makes it fun, simple, and easy to understand, and that's what I love about Clio. Huge thank you to Clio for sponsoring today's video. Download Clio for free by clicking the link in the top of the description below. But with all that being said, let's get back into the review. So first things first, we should talk about pricing because that's usually what people think about when they think about buying something. So the Steam Deck OLED replaces some of the older Steam Decks in Steam's lineup of consoles. Now to be fair, they do still have some of the older Steam Decks, which they've reduced the price of, but those are only selling while supplies last, and once they're gone, they'll be gone. So moving forward, there will be 3 Steam Decks available. There'll be the non-OLED version, which comes with 256 gigabytes of storage. That LCD version comes in at a retail price of $399. The 2 remaining Steam Decks in the lineup, or I guess the 2 remaining options for Steam Decks in the lineup, both feature the OLED screen. However, the mid-tier version comes with a glossy screen, and the higher-end version, which I have here, comes with the premium etched glass anti-glare display. Well, I guess to be fair, this one is the limited edition version of the Steam Deck OLED, so it is technically the higher-end version. However, it comes with some extra bells and whistles, like a slightly different case and some new colors. But getting back into pricing, the mid-tier version of the Steam Deck, which features the OLED screen, however, it comes with a glossy display and 512 gigabytes of storage, comes in at a retail price of $549, which is actually really competitive for what you're getting. Obviously, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but you're getting a lot for $549. And then the highest-end version comes with that premium etched glass display, 1 terabyte of storage, and a retail price of $649. And then for anyone who's interested in the limited edition version, it's slightly more expensive at $679. And I think after taxes and shipping and things like that, I ended up paying over $700. It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, and for that same price, you can get something like the Asus ROG Ally or the Lenovo Legion Go, which are more powerful devices. They run Windows, so they do have some advantages, but I think if you're looking for an all-in-one solution that's very seamless, this is a great way to go. So obviously, looking at the form factor of the new Steam Deck OLED, it looks almost identical. The exterior shell is pretty much exactly the same. The main changes either take place internally, or it's the screen itself, which still uses the same cutout size, even though the screen is larger than the older version. But let's talk about this screen, because the screen is the main improvement over the previous Steam Deck, and man, does this screen look good. Valve replaced a 7-inch LCD panel on the previous Steam Deck with a 7.4-inch OLED panel. Unfortunately, the resolution is still the same on this device versus the older version of the device. It's still 1280 by 800, which is not the highest resolution in the world, but honestly, when you're looking at a screen this size, the resolution isn't as important as something like a TV. What is important is the refresh rate, and the nice thing about the Steam Deck OLED is that it actually has a 90 Hz screen versus a 60 Hz screen, which means if your games are capable of running at 90 Hz, you can actually see the difference on this screen, and I've got to say from personal experience, it's incredible. It is a nice bump. Now, not every game is going to be able to run at 90 Hz. Obviously, the processor in this hasn't really changed. It's not any more powerful than the original Steam Deck. Some games are just going to be too beefy for the Steam Deck, so even though you have the higher refresh rate, you're not going to be able to really see it. But with that being said, it is still nice to have the option. In addition to that, this screen now gets up to 600 nits of brightness, which is really solid. And because this is an HDR OLED, when using HDR, you can get up to 1,000 nits of brightness. It's amazing. And I feel like I'm dancing around the elephant in the room here, but the OLED display looks incredible. The blacks are true black. They're very dark. The viewing angles, not that that's that important, look amazing. And obviously the colors are incredible. Plus, like I said, now it's an HDR screen, which is even better. So all around, this screen is a huge improvement over the older LCD. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the difference in the actual finish on the top of the screen, the glossy version does look better. The colors look a little bit brighter than they do on this etched glass version, which is a bummer. However, if you throw on like a screen protector that's glossy, you can sort of minimize that. But I will say, unless you're really planning to use this out in direct sunlight, you don't really need this etched glass display. And my previous Steam Deck did have the glossy screen, and I had no issues with it whatsoever. The only reason I went for the etched glass display is because that was the only option that was available in this limited edition colorway, so I got what I got, but again, I can sort of fix that by getting a glossy screen protector. I will say though, the colors are fine, but you do notice a difference when you compare it to a glossy screen. But I will say, for the purposes of this video, it's nice to have the etched glass matte screen because it diffuses the light a little bit better, rather than on my old Steam Deck, which was a pain to film B-roll of because there were just lights everywhere on that screen. It was crazy. Totally a personal problem though, not something you're gonna have to deal with unless you're making videos about your Steam Deck. So obviously the screen is amazing and it's the largest visual difference on the Steam Deck OLED, but there are a lot of other differences that are really nice upgrades over the previous Steam Deck. First off, the new Steam Deck is noticeably lighter. It's 29 grams lighter than the previous Steam Deck, which I didn't think would be that big of a difference, and while it's not a huge difference, it's 29 grams. You do notice it in hand. I'll be honest though, it's not like I was getting fatigued from playing my Steam Deck for a couple hours. In fact, I feel like the battery wasn't long enough for me to get fatigued from holding my Steam Deck, so it is a nice change, but it's not a necessary one. Some other big improvements that I've already sort of touched on when I talked about the price is the increased storage size of the new Steam Decks. Obviously, the storage size now starts at 256 gigs versus 64 gigs on the previous iterations of the Steam Deck, and it goes all the way up to 1 terabyte, which I actually have here. Plus, I supplemented this device with another terabyte micro SD card, so I've got 2 terabytes on this beast. It's crazy. I've downloaded so many games, which is amazing. I'm so excited about it, and this is gonna be my new travel device, because on the previous version of the Steam Deck that I had, which was the 256 gigabyte version, I really couldn't store that much. I did have this 1 terabyte card, which helped, but now I can literally store, I would say, 80% of my Steam library, which is not the biggest Steam library in the world, but for me, I've got pretty much everything on here that can work on Steam Deck. I mean, shoot, I've even got Madden 2023, because 2024 doesn't work on the Steam Deck, but Madden 2023 is like a 100-something gigabyte game, which is stupid, but I have it on my Steam Deck, plus a bunch of other stuff. And for those of you wondering, the reason Madden 2024 does not work on the Steam Deck is because of its anti-cheat that it uses that only works on Windows. This is a Linux-based device, so unfortunately, you can't use the anti-cheat. So certain games, because of that anti-cheat specifically, will not work on Steam Deck, and in my opinion, it's a huge bummer, but you can install Windows on this device if you want. I'm just not tech savvy enough to do that, which is insane because I have a tech channel, but I'm just telling you guys the truth. I've never built a computer either. I've had one built for me. I shouldn't be admitting these things. Another really nice improvement on the Steam Deck OLED over the previous Steam Deck is that it's cooler and it runs quieter overall. There's better thermals in this device and the fans run so much quieter on this thing. So if you ever happen to turn this up towards your face and you feel the hot air blowing on your face, which happened to me all the time for whatever reason, it's not as hot as it was on the previous Steam Deck. I mean, that's obviously a dumb way to test thermals, but it does run quieter and cooler. Man, you guys are not gonna subscribe to the channel because you think I'm an idiot. Maybe that's why you should subscribe to the channel, because I am an idiot. Well, to be honest, another reason you should subscribe is because I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 Slim if you subscribe and comment subbed up underneath the unboxing of this PlayStation 5. And in a couple days, I'm giving away an Xbox Series S, so stay tuned for that. Again, all you need to do is subscribe and comment subbed up, probably under the unboxing of this console, but a lot of really cool giveaways happening in the very near future, so make sure to subscribe so you get all this cool tech content, and also you can win a bunch of free stuff, so that's always a plus. Another improvement on the Steam Deck OLED that probably does help with thermals is that they now use a 6nm chip, which has the same processing power but does it more efficiently, which probably does also help the battery life. And speaking of which, the Steam Deck OLED has better battery life and a larger battery. The Steam Deck OLED has a 50 watt-hour battery compared to the 45 watt-hour battery on the previous Steam Deck, and according to Valve, the Steam Deck OLED has 30 to 50% better battery life than the previous Steam Deck. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but I will say from my own personal experience, running pretty intensive games, I can get at least 2 hours out of this thing, and then running more standard games, I can get up to 4 hours, and honestly, even more from running something that doesn't require a lot of processing power at all. So battery life has definitely improved. I don't know if it's 30 to 50% improved, but it is definitely improved. And for me, that's a huge plus because I travel a lot and the Steam Deck OLED wasn't my travel device just because the battery life wasn't long enough. I'd take my Switch, but now that this runs longer and can work for longer flights, like a 3-hour flight or a 4-hour flight, I'll be taking this instead of my Switch because a lot of the games that I'm playing currently are on the Steam Deck and not on Switch. Another pretty big quality of life improvement that I didn't even realize till I got this thing in hand is that this Steam Deck OLED now has Wi-Fi 6 and it downloads games 3 times faster according to Valve. And I will say, it was very noticeable. Like, I was downloading all of these games significantly faster than I ever could have on my previous Steam Deck, which made downloading like 20 plus games a breeze. It only took a couple hours. And then the final improvement that I'm going to talk about in today's video is the improved haptics and the changed buttons. So first off, the touchpads feel a lot better. They feel a lot more clicky than they did in the previous Steam Deck. It's a lot more pronounced, the movement that you make and the haptics that you get, and I really love that about it. On my old Steam Deck, the left touchpad never really felt that responsive to me. Maybe I got a defective unit, I don't know, but it never felt like I was really clicking it. I had one of the launch editions, so maybe I got a defective one like I said, but this one feels 10 times better. It really feels like I'm clicking an actual button, and I love it. Speaking of buttons, the shoulder buttons on this device are now a lot more clicky than they were on the previous Steam Deck, and the analog sticks now have new ends on them, which feature this nice new ridge which allows you to really keep your thumbs in place, and I really like the way that it feels. So those are the main changes on the Steam Deck OLED versus the previous Steam Deck, the main one being the OLED display, which I've got to say is incredible. I might grab a screen protector for it because I just don't need this matte display, and I feel like the colors would pop so much more with the glossy display. But all that aside, the OLED display looks amazing. The blacks are true black. The colors are great. The HDR is amazing. The brightness is solid. The refresh rate is a huge improvement, and obviously the screen size is a nice touch as well. So overall, definitely a better device than the previous Steam Deck. However, is it worth getting the Steam Deck OLED if you already have a Steam Deck? In my opinion, not really. The only reason that I would get a Steam Deck OLED is if you're jumping into the Steam Deck for the first time, or maybe your Steam Deck is old or broken, or there's something wrong with it, and you're planning to buy a new Steam Deck anyway. Yes, these improvements are incredible, I love them, and I think it makes it a really well-rounded device that will be my go-to handheld device, but it's just not enough to justify spending an extra $500 to $700 on a new thing that you probably already have a very similar version of. However, if you've never bought a Steam Deck and you're looking to play your Steam library on the go, the Steam Deck OLED is the obvious choice. This is a console that's worth picking up because not only does it feature better battery life, a better screen, more storage, the improvements on the Steam Deck OLED are excellent and make this a must-have device if you're planning to play your games on the go. Now, should you buy the limited edition version? I don't know, it's, a couple more bucks. If you're into that and you're planning to already buy the 1TB version and you like the orange details on the analog sticks, the orange power button, which I think is actually on every Steam Deck OLED, and the case that features this really cool printed detail in the inner case, then yeah, grab the limited edition version. Plus, this semi-translucent smoke gray plastic allows you to see some of the internals on the inside, which I absolutely love, and I love all the orange hits, like the screws in the back, the orange vents. It's just a beautiful looking thing. I much prefer this to the standard Steam Deck, and I was willing to pay the extra like 30 bucks for this thing over the standard Steam Deck. But yeah, I'm really happy with this device. I sold my old Steam Deck, so that's why I felt okay buying this Steam Deck, plus I wanted to give you guys a full review on this device. But for me, it felt like a worthwhile upgrade because I was selling my old Steam Deck and buying a new one, and this was going to be my only Steam Deck. Which I guess if you're doing that and you're willing to lose like $50 to $100, especially if you're buying the higher end version of the Steam Deck that you didn't have before, then maybe it's worth it for you. But I'd say for most people who already have a Steam Deck, you don't need it. I know this is not a huge deal for a lot of people, but Valve did update the Steam Deck case. It now features two cases in one. You've got this hard external shell, which has this little strap on the back to put the power cable in. And then you've also got this internal case, which you can pull out. That's a soft case. It's a lot slimmer, so it's easier to throw into a backpack. It's a really nice update to the case that you already had for the Steam Deck, and I think it's a welcome improvement. But hey, that pretty much wraps up the Steam Deck OLED review for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.